Hello, humans of the internet. My name is Stuart, also known as Chewbacca. And today we're going to be having a look at the Southeast Tournament series as it stands, as well as looking at this coming Saturday's event run by the Egham Tabletop Society, the Runnymede Rumble 2. So the last event in the series was Spring Break in Brighton. This is the standings, so you can see Miss Beltry won with winning all three games with her Underworld. Henry Judas was second with Skaven, Dakigaza third with Human, Pagan Agent fifth with Amazons, and James Goldsmith next with Khorne. So it was only the second event in the series, but if we look at the standings, we can see Miss Beltry is significantly ahead, having finished second at Kent, which was the first event in the series, and winning Spring Break. You then have James Goldsmith, GJ703 in second place. He also did well at both events. And then the next three places are the rest of the top few from Kent. So obviously we've only had two events. There's quite a lot still to play for, but this score that Tree has got of 56.7 is going to be very, very strong, especially if she gets another decent score in Egham this weekend. So she might be very difficult to catch, even though we've only just started the series. So that's where we stand at the moment. You'll notice here we've got this new summary view showing the top 5 in each category, and we've also introduced top newcomer, which is for anyone who was NAF registered after the 1st of July last year, and the most improved, where you're looking at places that a coach has gained between this year and last year. So we've got 5 coaches here. I know Dacaneres will be going to Egham, and is playing on a few more events. I don't know too many others apart from Ryan Gaming Dwarf, who I played at Spring Break. I think he's going to be looking to go to another couple. And then most improved. At this stage, it's not going to be showing too much, but you've got top 5 here: Bearded Steve, Zargan Lawful, Mini Morg, Lachlan, and Insidious. So these two are going to be probably just sort of handshake prizes and on their NAF pages. For the top 3 and the top stunty, there's a lovely NAF badge which they'll receive. But we may well look to get a trophy for these if we can do so. One other thing that's changed, we've done a little bit of work on the standings when they load up, which will show you places moved since the previous event. So it's like a top of the pops style thing. I quite like this. At the moment, some of these are probably higher jumps than they might otherwise have been because of boring spreadsheet reasons to do with sorting, but it's largely there. So effectively, Amstel Salty Sea Winch was joint level with a number of people previously, but has jumped maybe more places than it looks like she might have jumped. Anyway, it's all going to be exciting, and when you've got more events, the data will be hopefully easier to view, and the same has been implemented for these other tabs. The standings when qualified, there's nothing there at the moment because we've only had 2 events and no one has played the required number of events, and the stunty standings and stunty qualified, and then the top newcomer and most improved, it's not on that because it basically would be too difficult to get the spreadsheet to do that automatically, so we haven't done so. So let's look at the rule set for Egham. So it's going to be 3 games with 30, 15, 0 points for win, draw, loss, and then you get bonus points for scoring 3 or more touchdowns, causing 3 or more casualties. with tie-break difference, casualty difference, and win ratio being the tiebreakers. So fairly standard and straightforward. There is also apparent you may know that I don't often read rule sets until much closer to the event. I didn't realise there was an award for dirtiest player, so that's going to be quite fun. We'll see if that plays out in a load of stunty teams having been picked. You then have 1150 with the usual sort of inducements with star players for tiers 3 and 4, which are the stunty teams and some of the trickier teams. And then Megastars band, tells you here their skills. So you've got 5 skills tier 1, 6 tier 2, 7 with 1 maximum secondary for tier 3, and then 8 with 2 secondaries maximum for tier 4. So it's pretty good, fairly competitive rule set. If we switch back here, I've also been playing around with my pre-event seeding spreadsheet and making it look nicer, but it's also a Google sheet now, and so you should hopefully, if you want to use it yourself, be able to do so without having to download loads of stuff from the NAF website. And just run over the top few in each category. So the left one is the individual seeding based on the highest NAF rank with any race. So that's Miss Spelltree there with her high Underworld score, Wood Elf score, sorry. Alchemist in second. So there's only two coaches with above 200 ranking. And then there's a big pack afterwards led by myself with Jericho Jackson, Pagan Agent and Salty Sea Winch, all clumped up together. Not many people are trying playing races they played previously. We've got Jez Pagan Agent at the top with Amazon, so he's been playing them fairly solidly, knows what he's doing with them, and I think he went 2-1-0 at Spring Break. Then Moose, who I don't actually know, playing Wood Elves. Myself and Primac with Old World Alliance, so we've probably neither has played them too much. And then Bearded Steve with Nurgle. So quite a lot of coaches are either newer players or trying a new race. And we'll move on to talking about everyone's rosters. So we've got 1 day, 22 hours left to go. Pretty exciting stuff. So here are the rosters. So I'm going to talk through all the rosters. We've got 26. Have noticed that Tourplay have added this lovely search feature here. So you are able to search by coach or team name. Annoyingly, you can't filter by race, which would be quite interesting to be able to compare the same races and how they've built, but there we go. Maybe that'll be a future request. So let's start with Roshinator. So this is Jody. He's running Vampires. He's the TO, so I assume he'll be sitting out odd player out if there's odd numbers. He's gone for Vampires, so he's got a max Vampire build with 3 rerolls and leader, so 4 rerolls in total. And he has added block, dodge, and break tackle on the Vampire Blitzer, so that'll be doing a lot of cage diving. It's wouldn't have been my first choice. I prefer strip ball, but break tackle in the new rules is very good, and so that Vampire's been dodging on like a nothing plus or something ridiculous like that. So it's it's an interesting choice. Hopefully it will work out for him. We've then got Jam Hauser playing Wood Elf, so my favourite team. I nearly took them, but I'm trying to play different races in all of the tournaments I'm going to at the moment. So 11 players, 2 War Dancer, 2 Catcher, 1 Thrower. So this is the build that I would take, I think. What are they gone for skill ways? So yeah, 2 Rerolls and Apo. Positionals. Oh, we've got a Tree Man as well. I didn't see the Tree Man. So this isn't my preferred build. But I think I might have to start leaning into the Tree Man now. They've taken away all my lovely catches. So frenzy and strip ball on the war dances, dodge on 2 linos and wrestle on another lino. Fairly solid, and looks like they're a very good Wood Elf coach, being the second ranked in England. So I imagine they'll do quite well as long as their players stay on the pitch. So we'll just look actually at the race stats. So we've got 4 Dwarf teams, 3 OWA, and no more than 2 of anything else. So we're going to see a few Dwarfs and a few OWA. So the first Dwarf is Graham, or XG, who loves playing Dwarfs. I think pretty much only plays Dwarfs, or if he's not, he's playing OWA, who also have Dwarfs. I've not seen him play anything different. So he's gone max positionals, players to 12 with 2 rerolls and an Apo. So he has got tackle on a Dwarf Lino, 2 Dwarf Linos, block on a runner, guard on a blitzer, leader on another runner, and guard on another blitzer. So he's basically trying to turn the Dwarfs into Dwarfs of old by adding tackle. I'd probably want a bit more guard if possible, so you could have it on the Slayers. So I think I would try maybe guarding these up, or maybe a Mighty Blow. But Graham loves Dwarfs, I'm sure he knows what he's doing. Next up is Alchemist, who was the second highest rating coach. He's gone Fighting Irish as a halfling team. With Rumbelow, what a hero. I love Rumbelow. So we have 16 players, so the Flings will never die. No Apo though, and 2 rerolls, and the chef and a mascot. Okay, so he's got 2 rerolls already. 2 rerolls, leader, mascot, and a chef. So we'll be loading up on rerolls. Probably his opponents. But yeah, that's a lot of rerolls for Flings. But then I don't know what you spend the rest of the money on. I might have been tempted to drop a reroll and take an Apo. Because if Rumbelow dies, that's a lot of cash disappeared, or one of the trees even. So 2 trees with block, very sensible. I do like Pro myself to keep him moving, and fish for pals. But block is obviously a very, very solid choice, being one of the best skills in the game. Rumbelow is an absolute hero. So his special rule is called Ram, which allows you to basically have a once per game Mighty Blow. I would just use it on the very first hit that I do that it can make a difference on. Lead on Hefty, sure feet on catches, on the ball Hefty, which is nice for trying to one-turner. Sidestep on 2 hopefuls. Flings get a lot of skills that they don't need, and there's obviously been no skill tax for taking a star here. So yeah, so they're still able to load up on skills. So that's a decent team, and Paul's a good player. So I imagine he'll do all right with those. Next up is Actual Power with Chaos Dwarfs. So I personally hate Chaos Dwarfs. I've started playing them in our league. 1 game in, I've had 2 players die. I've lost a Chaos Dwarf and a Bull Centaur. Dead. Never to return again. I took 3 casualties in the first 2 turns. And I didn't get much better from there. But I'm sure that's an anomaly, and my opponent was just rolling a lot of 10s. So we've got a 13-player Chaos Dwarf roster for Actual Power. He's got all of the Chorfs and Flamesmiths and the Bulls. So no Minotaur, taking 2 Stabbers, no Apo, 3 rerolls. And quite sensibly added Guard on the Blockers, Block on the Bull Centaurs, Wrestle on the Stabbers. Obviously the Linos don't get any skills other than Devious, which is not very helpful for them. But yeah, pretty good skills all in all. I wonder if I'd have taken Sure Hands on one of the Stabbers just for picking up the ball, because that's something they struggle with. But yeah, Wrestle is also a nice skill for them. Then we've got Lachlan, who is also playing Stunty. So Father Fart Flingers, he's gone for Snotlings. And he has got all of the players, all of the rookies, one bribe, and Scrapper, 3 rerolls, no Apo. So Scrapper, his special, I think, is just interceptions, which probably won't come up too much. But he's a decent player as it is. Dirty players, nice. You've got it on the pump wagons though, so whether you'd use them rather than risking your star, even with a bribe, I'm not sure. Got one troll with block, pretty solid. It looks like he's foregone. Oh no, they only got 1 secondary because they were tier 3. So the other troll has got bullseye, which would be nice, fun missiles. Not really seen bullseye in action. I've only played against one team with it, which was Ogres, and I managed to kill all the Snotlings before they got throw anyone at me. So it's good to see how that works. Then we've got 2 break tackle pump wagons, which is a good solid choice to keep them moving, something getting tied up. Flinger with pass, again really solid, and then 2 additional dirty players because they now get devious on primary, and that really improves the choices you've got there. Next up, we've got Surrey Lee. So it's Lee Woolstow. Not sure if I met him when I went to Egham last year. May well have done. He's got Wear the Grudge Like a Crown. He's playing Dwarfs. And has gone for 2 blitzers, 2 runners, 1 slayer, 11 players. But he has got the Apo. Load up on cheerleaders, coaches, and fans as well. I know there's some players in Egham who basically only play Dwarfs. He may well be one of them. So he's also turned this guy into a Dwarf of old by adding tackle. Got kick on a lino, which is maybe an interesting choice. Kick is a skill that I really like when I'm playing fast edge teams to put it deep and to worry my opposition. I've not tried it on a slower team, so that's interesting there. You've got a runner with block, solid, slayer with mighty blow, and blitzer with mighty blow, so trying to do the damage. Only 1 guard, so that's maybe the weakness of this roster, but otherwise quite like that. We're now down to Grimlaw playing another Dwarf coach, so again might be one of those coaches from Egham that just loves Dwarfs. He's gone all the positionals and an extra player and an Apo and 2 rerolls. So these guys will be difficult to remove. He's gone 2 guard on the blitzers, bro on the slayer. That's quite nice to allow them to fish for pushes when you want to surf, or pals when you just want to kill someone. Block on 1 runner, wrestle on the other runner, which is nice as a safety, but it didn't come up for me when I was playing them in Brighton a couple of weeks ago. So that was Grimlaw. We've got Wrath of Taz, Tazzy's Biggins, so Orcs I've not come across in the new edition, but they look pretty solid. So he's got all of the positionals, all of the Orc positionals and the Troll and 2 goblins. So I'm taking 14 players, which is a deep bench. So you've got one of the benches that probably an Orc line out, and then 2 goblins. So that's pretty solid. You're not going to bang these guys out. 3 rerolls, financial aid, no Apo. So if a big player dies, that could be an issue. And with 5 skills, they've added block, guard on a troll, 2 block biggins, mighty blow, juggernaut. It doesn't look like they've added so their team captain does still need to be added actually. So I'm not sure who they would have gone for. I assume a biggin or a blitzer. I'll just make a note to drop JD a line about that one. But yeah, pretty solid choices there. Juggernaut on a blitzer. is an interesting choice. I think there's probably more useful skills. Another guard maybe would have been helpful there. But we will see. Then we've got Johan Madden, another Orc coach. Cheeks for weeks. So four rerolls is a lot, isn't it? And a mascot and a keg. Okay. So whilst they've got fewer players, they're more likely to come back from KOs. But yeah, if they lose a big player, they've not taken the troll. Quite a lot of people think the troll is an auto include. Now you're down on the other strength players. But that's obviously how they've managed to fit all of this extra stuff in. And they've put the team captain on a blitzer, so they've obviously got pro. The other blitzer's got strip ball. That's quite nice with break tackle. They might be able to do some decent cage diving there. Brawler on the two biggins, as opposed to block. Not sure I like that. Block keeps them on their feet to be able to use, but Brawler doesn't if their opponents are hitting them. On the ball thrower, good. Now they've got the extra movement as well, probably to consolidate up. Accurate on another throw. I think I probably would have gone leader there, dropped some of this, and tried to fit the troll in. But everyone is different, which is one of the beauties of this game. Why is it still 2 days to Saturday Tree? I don't know. I don't understand how time works. It's a cruel, very, very cruel. So then it's me. So Try Hard United. It's an OWA team. I've named my players after lots of people who I don't really think are tryhards. Obviously, OWA are the tryhard team de jour. And I was going to pick a load of people that I actually think are tryhards, but I thought that might be a little bit mean. So I've gone for thematically naming them. So Tree is obviously the tree. Then we've got Graham Boachi, who's the Dwarf Blitzer because he loves doors. Pimat was a Slayer because he was my Slayer in Brighton. And then the other dwarfs are people with beards. Bearded Steve, Bearded Lucian, Torquemada. And then just some other people who I quite like. I'm the halfling because I am a halfling and I'm always hungry. Right, so what have I done? So I've got a 13 player build. So the tree, Dwarf Blitzer, Dwarf Slayer, basically all the obvious ones except for I've gone for the Dwarf Runner over the Human Thrower, based on the fact that the Dwarf Runner is a little bit more likely to stay on the pitch. Therefore, I'm a little bit more likely to keep leader on the pitch. And from chatting people who've played these, they don't tend to throw the ball, even on a one-turner, because you're not getting many one-turner attempts apparently. So we'll see how it goes. I've played OWA in 2 games previously, so this will get me the 3rd game to get the lovely NAF badge that I'm after for playing all the races. And I've maxed out on the guard. Well, not maxed out. I could have had a guard on the tree as well, but got quite a bit of guard here. Dwarf Blitzer, Dwarf Slayer, Human Blitzer, leader on the Dwarf Runner as mentioned, and block on the Human Catcher. So I've played one or two practice games with them. They are very solid. Played against them and not won against them yet. So hoping to do well with them, but we will see. I'd like to do well to push myself up the sets standings. We've then got Bearded Steve, who's Scunthorpe United Nurgle. Obviously, he's a decent Nurgle coach. He's 5th in the UK with them. But he's not decent at money. He's left 50 grand in the treasury there. Very, very confident chap, clearly. He's got 12 players, so all of the positionals and then rotters to 12. I'm not sure there's any other build that you'd take now. You can only take 2 Pestigors. And a lot of guard and block across the bloaters. Stand firm on the spawn, which is nice for getting the bloaters back on their feet with the piggy me up. Extra arms on the Pestigor. So he's got 1 unskilled Pestigor. I think I'd have probably had a skill on the other Pestigor over the spawn, but I'm not very good with Nurgle, so take that with a massive pinch of salt. So then we've got Human Meat. So this is Matt from the Scab League, who's, I think it might be his second full 11s tourney. So we're driving up together, and he's got Bretonians, which he's been playing quite a bit. Fairly new player. He's started maybe October time. Very enthusiastic, loves the game, and yeah, we'll be driving up together. So looking forward to that as well. He's got a 12 player build. The 2 Ground Knights, 2 catches, 1 thrower, and Carla Von Kill, who, whenever I take her, she rolls double skulls every single game. I don't think she likes me, Carla does. So 12 players does leave, with no Apo, leaves you vulnerable to losing players fairly quickly when you've got all these chaps here who are armor 8. But you do get a lot of skills for this. So you've got block on the catches to keep them on their feet, guard on the Ground Knights, cannoneer on the thrower for a long passing game, tackle on 2 squires. So wrestle tackle is nice for taking down blodgers. I would personally want an Apo or another player, I think. But yeah, I'm sure Matt will have a great time. He's always got a smile on his face. That leads us to Sanguinor, so playing Dark Elves, who I think are pretty solid in this rule set. So all of the positional, so 2 runners, players to 12, 2 rerolls, no Apo. Obviously good with Dark Elves, 4th in England. So you got Witches, 1 with tackle, 1 with strip ball. Blitzers both with dodge, runner with kick. So the kick works well with punt, allowing you to re-roll that, but you're not getting a lot of skills. So I think that Witches are susceptible to getting smashed in with those skills, with no defensive skills. But they're obviously going ball hunting. So yeah. We'll see how it goes. I'll try and catch a bit of their games to see how it pans out, because Dark Elves I love, and I'll probably be taking them to the English Inter-Series Cup, which is in 2 weeks' time. I don't know when the deadline is. I've put in Dark Elves. We'll see if there's still time for me to change my mind or not. So we've then got Fergus Alexson with Sigmar's badges. So this is Agent Mothman. He's got 12 human players. So Ogre, 2 blitzers, thrower, 2 catches. Seems solid. With Ivar Eriksson. I don't think they're the only person who's taken Ivar. No rerolls. So Ivar is a very, very solid star. So block, guard, tackle. Lovely skills to have on a star player. Raiding party allows him to move 1 player on his team 1 square once a drive, I think it is. So that's quite a nice skill. Then what have they added? They've added block on both catches, good choice. Accurate on a throw. I would prefer leader. I prefer a reroll skill over a passing skill, because you'll always use a reroll, but you may not always use a passing skill. Mighty Blow and Team Captain on a blitzer, lovely stuff. We'll be able to go fishing for powers to hurt lots and lots of players that they want to hurt. Strip ball on the other blitzer, which is interesting. I've not seen he was played too much in the new rule set, so I don't know how much they're going for the ball. Break tackle on Ogre for getting away and smashing people, and then kick on the lino. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing humans soon, to see how they fare compared to last time. We've then got Jez, who Pagan Agent, who's taken Amazons, probably identical to what he took in Brighton, I'd imagine. 4 rerolls. So he's the top Amazon coach in the UK now. Top Amazon coach in the world for 2025. Nice. Um, so yeah, 4 rerolls is lovely. Third, 4 rerolls, 13 players is so good. You got dodge everywhere, obviously. Block and then wrestle on the blitzers. Block and guard on the blockers, and then block on a lino. Very solid stuff. He knows what he's doing. Did well in Brighton, so I might pick him as the potential winner, to be honest, because he's played them a lot, and I think he's really getting to grips with them. Primhacks OWA. So he's been naming these after people. So quite a lot of these are Brighton coaches, and then there's me, the thrower. So he's gone 2 rerolls, Apo. So he's got a slightly different build to me. He's got the human thrower over the dwarf runner, but otherwise that looks similar. And skill wise, he's taken a mighty blow rather than a third guard that I took. But otherwise pretty similar. We played each other last game at Brighton, so it was my dwarfs against his Norse, and he was about to win until he rolled double both down, re-rolled it looking for a push, and then rolled double skulls, so ended up a draw. He is my nemesis. Hopefully get another chance to play soon, and I can get my revenge. We will see. Little Mac here, who I don't know, might be an Egan player, playing Shambling Undead. And they've got 2 mummies, 2 whites, 2 ghouls, 6 zombies. I don't think you'd really take anything else. Taking 2 kegs though, so anyone who's getting knocked out is pretty much definitely coming back. 3 rerolls. That's pretty nice for what Undead get now. Obviously kegs, I don't like kegs in general, but for Undead and any other team that don't get an Apo, that's pretty nice. Sure hands on 1 ghoul, which not having defensive skills on either of the ghouls might be an issue. I do like sure hands on 1 because it protects against the strip ball. Mighty blow and guard on the blitzers, guard on the mummies. Yeah, good skills. I might drop one of the guards and move it to the other ghoul. But I've not played Undead for a while, so that might not be the right choice at all. Moose next, playing Woodhouse. So they were the we look back at this, they were based on the race they're using, the second highest rating coach. So team mascot, good choice because you have the money to do so. They taken a tree, 2 catchers, thrower, and sidestep on a catcher I really like, makes 1 turning so easy. Strip ball, sidestep on dancer, so no tackle, but I think that's fine. If you're not expecting to come up, it gets a lot of dodge. We've not seen too much previously. Wrestle on lino, lead on the thrower. So I'd like a bit more dodge spattered around the linos, but that's probably more my style of play more than anything. And you only get in 1, 2, 3, 5 skills, so there's not a lot of leeway there. And that was Moose. So then we've got Amsel, Salty Sea Winds, and she's playing humans. She said her human rating is probably deceptively low. She played them a lot at the start of her Blood Bowl journey. And she's called her team Chewbacca Can't Hurt Me. So I have been naming my players in Brighton. I named my players after players from Bribes. So if I came up against them, I would point them out and tell them not to hit themselves. And she's gone for the specifically stopping me from hitting any of her team, apart from, as Pimhat pointed out, Ivor Eriksson here. So if we do play, he's getting punched, and then I will work on which of my namesakes I like the least and punch them. So So she's got an ogre, 2 blitzers, 1 thrower, 2 catches, players to 12, 3 rerolls, no Apo. But yeah, so could get light on players if 1 or 2 get removed. But hopefully armor 9 should hold. We've got Capital Shoeblacker with block on the ogre, good choice. Guard and Frenzy and team captain on the blitzers. That's going to be nice for surfing or just for fishing for pals on hits. Block on both the catches, lovely stuff. Kick on the throw, which is probably interesting, and I think it probably suits her style of play. Diving tackle on the hopeful and to be annoying. So yeah, that's I quite like. I mean, Amsel quite likes taking slightly off meta skill choices. She took diving tackle on a dwarf assassin at Kent. I don't think that paid off. I don't think it came in, but it is nice to try different choices. So yeah, I like kick on the thrower there. Can put the other team under a lot of pressure, especially if you're coming to get up against slow teams like these. These are Black Orcs, and this was Garfield. So I think Garfield's on the Team England pathway, and I'll try and catch up with them. So they've gone Black Orcs with Varag. Varag is nice and mean. Only 11 players total. So if those goblins, 3 goblins, if they leave the pitch, you probably don't have anyone to pick up the ball with, and you've only got 1 reroll. So probably going for maximum smash here. Yeah, it's the defensive troll, guard on 2 Black Orcs, block on 2 more. Stand firm. Stand firm's an interesting choice. Quite a lot of people go 2 guard, 2 block, 2 mighty blow. Stand firm's going to stop them getting moved and be annoying and get in the way. So it'll be interesting. Garfield, if you're listening, sorry, it was actually pretty good in Kent, the diving tackle. I'm sure when I talked to you, it hadn't come up, but that could well have been like game 2 or something. So chatting to Amsel there in the comments. So yeah, Black Orcs, they'll be annoying to play against, but if these goblins get hit, they will be removed. But yeah, Garfield, come and say hello. I think we were on a call together the other day. I lost track of who was there on it, so you may not have been there. Hawksea's Corn. Hello, Alchemist. You're a bit late. I've just you've missed your team, but there'll be a bit of watch back. I liked your team, wanted to play them. Hawksea on Corn. So 12 players, 2 rerolls. Mascot on Acorn. Corn, I'm hoping they've got a lot of block. Not a lot of blocks. So rerolls are going to be the issue for this team, I think, where they're going to frenzy themselves to where they don't want to be. Acorn is fun, though. I love this choice. And Acorn is great at filling the gaps to serve players, which is good for Corn. So if they have hot dice, they could be really good. So 2 block seekers, 2 guard seekers, Juggernaut on the spawn, tackle and strip or Corn Gore. So I would say this is an off-meta fun team, and could really go off one way or the other. So it could be really good, could be really bad. Hawksea's Conan of the Cryptic Crabbin. Yeah, please introduce me. I think we've met. Cool. So Ghost is my other car buddy. We're picking him up en route. He's playing 2 Kings, who's played quite a lot. He's got 13 players, so all of the positionals, 5 skellies, 3 rerolls. And he's taken tackle and guard on the blitzers, 2 guardians, block thrower, wrestle thrower. I've not played Tomb Kings for like 2 years now. But I've played against the new Tomb Kings, and this brawler was so annoying. If you can get 3 dice blocks, you're basically turning them into 4 dice blocks, and yeah, they did a number on my Chaos Renegades in the Canterbury League. So I think the only skill that I'd consider changing is probably the tackle there. Wrestle's lovely for safety. Block on probably your ball carrier. Guard on the Guardians is great. Guard on the Blitz is good for the manoeuvrable guard. Um, Tackle is obviously to deal with those pesky dodges. I wonder if I'd like another guard, but I'm sure we'll have a chat up on that in the car on the way up there. And Ghost is a lot more experienced playing Team Kings than I am, so it's probably the right choice. We then have Tree. Hi Tree. A bad idea. Her Black Orc team. So I saw her playing Black Orcs. I think maybe on Arena, and they were quite. She was quite solid with those. So what's she going for here? So it's another Varag Black Orc build, 12 players. So she's got one more goblin than the other one, but 0 rerolls. Oh, lovely idea, Tree. So one bribe, so fouling skills. Yeah, dirty player goblin. 2 block Black Orcs, 2 guard Black Orcs, 1 tackle Black Orc. Leader on the trolls. That's your one reroll. Tree's first time playing Black Orcs. Yeah, I'm sure you're playing them on a stream one time that I just stumbled upon. I tend to watch streams on my lunch break, so probably like this time or slightly later one day. But yeah, her first time playing on them on tabletop. Laughing John can't make it this time, so he's not going to have his gnome hat, which is a shame. Thanks, John. Hopefully you'll be able to make the next one, or come down to, or we see each other another tournament soon. We've got a lot coming up in the series. So yeah, hopefully you're going to make one of those. So basically one reroll, relying on Vag to take out everyone. Relying on the goblin here to keep himself on the pitch and remove players. But yeah, I'm sure Tree is going out for a fun time. And as Alchemist points out, that is a chef-proof chef-proof team, rather. Okay, we're nearly there. We've got Smurfy at the end. Another Dwarf coach, so probably one of the Eggem Tabletop Society. 2 blitzers, 2 slayers, 1 runner. So most people have probably gone for 2 runners. But 11 players and an Apo and 3 rerolls. So that's quite nice. Again, making the linos into linos of old with tackle. So 3 old school Dwarf linos there. Mighty blow on both slayers for mega hits. Block on one of the runners. So the 0 guard, which could be an issue if they come up against some of the other teams that have the guard, because they're not going to be getting good hits on their turns, even if they're stopping good hits on the opponent's turns. There we go. Last one is Jericho Jackson playing Old World Alliance, the 3rd OWA coach. So 13 players, and Tom has gone for the Human Blitzer. So this is the Prim Hack build, and we've added 2 guard on the blitzers, both blitzers. Mighty blow on the slayer, block on the catcher, and leader on the thrower. So that might be exactly identical. I think Primac had the mighty blow on the blitzer, so some variation within the AWA teams at least, but not too much. So this is Runnymede Rumble 2, which is now in 1 day, 21 hours, 44 minutes in Egham on Saturday. So thank you all for listening to me waffle on for 45 minutes apparently. So this is the 3rd event in the Southeast Tournament Series, and there are lots more coming up. So the website for all the English Tournament Series is bb.nasgob.co.uk, and you can look at all the regional ones. So coming up in the Southeast Series, we've next got Egham this weekend. Then in April there is the Wobble Carnage Cup in Caterton. And then the details for this, I need to update. This is Blood on the Sands, which we're running in Folkestone at the Bursting. And then there's Borek Ball in June, followed by Pitch Invaders and the Troll Bowl. So June's going to be a busy month for the series. Then SummerSlam, still to be announced. Brighton Piers in September, October Cup in October, and Racquet Bowl in November. So there's quite a lot more to play, but obviously, as we saw, Tree has got quite a sizable lead at the top already, so she's going to be the one to beat. And with a fun Black Orc build, we'll see how she gets on. So yeah, thank you for listening to Waffle On. Enjoy the rest of your day, and hopefully see some of you in Egham.